Hi, my name is Allison Gamber. I'm the Executive Director for the Cove Center for Grieving Children. Our office is located in Meriden and we provide services throughout Connecticut. We are so excited to be having a virtual event coming up, the Hope and Healing Virtual Auction and Celebration. The auction will be held April 22nd to the 24th, and the celebration will be held on the evening of April 24th to talk all about the Cove services and what we've accomplished over the last 26 years. If you'd like to join us for the celebration, registration is free, and you can find all that information on www.covect.org. And the link for the virtual auction will be put up there on the evening of April 21st to start live auctioning on April 22nd. So come and join us to celebrate the Cove and raise some funds so we can continue to offer our programs free of charge.
Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R and J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And usually, I know you guys want us to get into sports, and usually that's what we do when we start. But today's a little bit different because of what happened yesterday, and we got to discuss the Derek Chauvin trial. He was found guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. And it was a great day for our country yesterday, a great day for our country. It showed that we're moving forward. And you saw all the tweets from all the athletes yesterday, from LeBron James, you heard Stan Van Gundy's comments. Everybody, Tom Brady put up an Instagram story that justice had been served for George Floyd. It absolutely was. I mean, what happened last May was absolutely disgusting. To see Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's throat was absolutely disgusting, and there needed to be justice needed to be served, and it absolutely was yesterday. And the jury absolutely got this one right. They absolutely got this one right. Chauvin definitely should have been guilty of all three charges, and he was. And it just was a great day for America. Yes, we have a long way to go, but yesterday was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely should have been found guilty on all three accounts. There's no question about it. It was a good day for the country. You said it, taking that next step. Obviously we still have ways to go to stop all of it, but yesterday was a good day to moving forward on. It was totally disgraceful to see what happened that day back about a year ago. So it's obviously it was a good day for the country. They made the right call. The jury made the right decision. That's the first step of trying to end all this violence. So we got the first step. Then now it's trying to continue it and making sure we get rid of it all.
Absolutely. And there's a long way to go, but yesterday showed you, I don't care. It doesn't matter what your rank is. If you're a police officer, there's no right to do what there's no right to do what you did. There's no right at all to do what you did. You can, even though you're in a position of authority as a police officer, you cannot do that at all. And that's unacceptable. And it shows accountability. And as now police officers have to have that kind of accountability if you're going to do that, especially it's to anyone. I don't care what color of their skin it is, to anybody. You don't put your knee on their throat. I don't care. I don't care what happens. So I don't care what the situation is. There's a better way to go about things than do that. So, all the credit to the jury yesterday, just like I said, and definitely is a step in the right direction. I mean, all year long we've been talking about social injustice. Yesterday, our country started to come closer together for the first time in a while.
Yeah, absolutely, it did, and the kind of see you talk about it, seeing all the posts about justice for George Floyd and all that. Yeah, absolutely. It's there's no reason to there's absolutely no reason to put your knee on somebody's neck, no matter who they are, or, it just doesn't matter. It's a good day to move forward, and it kind of You said it. Bring us a little bit closer together, but absolutely, we still have a long way to go to get rid of it all. Just, end it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we just hope yesterday is a step in the right direction. And I feel like it absolutely was. But we're going to get into sports and we're going to start with baseball. We're going to get into baseball. And we're going to start with the Yankees. And they have even though they won last night, they have really, really been struggling, this Yankees team. I mean, outside of Garrett Cole, the depth in their rotation has not been good. The lineup, that has not been good. Judge has not had a good year. Stanton's been terrible. Torres has been terrible. Sanchez hasn't been good. Really, outside of LeMahieu, and then Urshela hit that home run last night. Outside of LeMahieu and Urshela, Hicks has been awful. Frazier's been awful. This lineup has been absolutely terrible. And they're 25th in runs scored, and that's a problem for a lineup we thought was going to be, top 5 in runs scored. Right now, it's in the bottom 10 in runs scored, and that's really been, I think, the biggest issue, because we kind of thought with the rotation would be a little bit shaky. The bullpen has been a pleasant surprise with Zach Britton out, but the lineup has been the biggest disappointment for this team. This lineup has been absolutely terrible so far, and it is the biggest. Yes, I know the depth in the rotation is not good, but the lineup is the biggest reason why this team is where they are at 6-10.
Oh, absolutely. I saw a very concerning number last night. So since 2019, you know what Gleyber Torres averages and bases loaded?
What? What is it?
25. 190.
That's terrible. And really, since 2019, Torres has not been good at all.
No, he's really struggled. I know last year, okay, it was a shortened season. He didn't come in shape, but it's concerning, Look, last year, too, they were 33-27. I know it was injuries and all that, but it wasn't like they were killing it last year in 60 games. They struggled. And I also saw, too, they've seen the least amount of fastball this year behind the Texas Rangers. And what's been the Yankees' kryptonite the last year? It's the off-speed pitches. They can't hit off-speed, and they still can't. And it's like they're trying to run pitchers' counts up, and it's like they miss a fastball right down the middle, and they're just looking at it. So yeah, the lineup been awful. I don't know why Gio's not hitting third. Gio's the only one that should be batting third in the lineup.
Last time he had Gardner hitting third. I mean, I don't care about the righty lefty thing. Put Gio up there. Yeah, Gio's actually been hitting. He's been one of the few guys who's been hitting. I mean, Gardner at hitting 214 is hitting number 3 in the lineup. Makes no sense at all.
No, and it's and obviously that's really the only, because it's like nobody in this lineup hitting, so it's like you really can't change everything around. But that's the one spot. It's like Gio should not be batting. He was batting 8th last night. It's like he's been your best hitter, Boone. What are we doing here? I would hope he moves up tonight. It's been horrible. It's not been fun to watch. It's like they get down and it's like there's like a sense of they're not coming back. It's and Hicks, the field Sunday. It's starting to affect him in the field. I know he sat down last night. He came in to pitch hit for Gardner. But yeah, like last night they won, but they didn't get a big hit. It was a pass ball and a walk. It's like, we got lucky.
Pretty much they got lucky. Yeah, and really they had bases loaded, nobody out with the score 1-1. And if it wasn't for that walk, that Mike Ford, that walk to Mike Ford, they wouldn't have had. They would have had 1 run. I mean, you had the two pop outs with runners in scoring position. It's still, the offense is still a real. I mean, who would have thought the offense would be this big of a problem?
I didn't. It's very concerning, and yeah, it's been awful. It really has. And Saturday, Montgomery pitched really well. He made 2 bad pitches up in the zone, 2 solo shots. That's all the Rays got. And then last night, Tyone looked really good. Tyone looks like he really found a groove last night. He got the no decision. They won, but it's like Cole was great too on Sunday, and he picked up the L. I
think Montgomery wasn't great on Saturday. He did give up 3 earned runs, but yeah, Tyone was good, and Cole pitched pretty well on Sunday. I'll give you. He
didn't get help from his defense, but
yeah, that was the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very concerning, and this was, I was thinking too. I think there's, with all the Yankee fans too, kind of, and it is concerning, but I think too with the Red Sox, the way they've started out of the gates. I know we'll talk about them in a minute. I think it's really bothering the Yankee fans. And then what do all Yankee fans want too? We all want all-stars at every position. And that's what the Dodgers have. And look what the Dodgers are doing. And I think none of our guys are performing like all-stars for the most part. And I think it's really, really bugging a lot of Yankee fans, which, I get. This is a team that should not be 6-10 or whatever they are right now. It's awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team. It was a team with high expectations. Really, I mean, this was a team, in my opinion, that if Aaron Boone didn't get to the World Series this year, he would be gone. I mean, if he does, I mean, right now, this is the way things are going. This should be his last year as manager. But we'll see what ends up happening. What ends up happening the rest of the season. But I mean, for the way things are going now, he should not be the manager of this team. This team is just underperformed completely. Yeah, and really the only guy who's really it's been Gio and it's been LeMahieu. LeMahieu is the only all-star and only potential all-star on this team. That's it. I mean, Judge has not been hitting well. Stanton, 3 strikeouts on Saturday. He's hearing the boos at Yankee Stadium. He's been terrible. Gary Sanchez, I mean, Joe needs to stop talking about him being the best catcher in baseball because he's not. Gleyber Torres obviously has not been good at all. So this lineup has really struggled. There's no depth outside of Garrett Cole in this rotation. I know Tyone pitched well last night, but that was only 5 innings. They got to hope that Severino comes back, maybe June or July and can be good coming off Tommy John surgery. And we got a comment from Vinny. The Red Sox are for real Yankees pitching help, and Vinny's 100% right about that. Vinny's a Red Sox fan, and he's kind of rubbing it a little bit, but he says the Red Sox are for real Yankees pitching help, and he's 100% right about that. The Yankees definitely need pitching help. I mean, really, I mean, Tyone has been okay.
I think that was a good step last night.
It was a good step for Tyone, but Tyone's been okay. Kluber's been awful. Montgomery has been okay, and we all know Herman is back at the alternative site. So it's been really. What do you say?
You want to continue? You can continue. I'll say it after.
Yeah, so it's just they definitely need help. They definitely need some pitching help. Either have Luis Severino come back and hopefully he is your number 2 starter, or they're going to have to make a move at the trade deadline.
What about Michael King? Michael King's been great. I didn't understand that decision Friday.
That's another decision. Yeah. When they pitched Nick Nelson instead of him, yeah. Michael King's been great, and even
9 shutout innings.
Yeah, and even you can give Debbie Garcia a shot too.
Yeah, him too. Yeah. I don't. It's like because obviously the Yankees have not been able to develop pitching the last few years. And it's and we finally have a couple guys that you feel like could be franchise guys, but it's like they're too afraid to give them the start. It feels like. Yeah,
and it's something I don't get. I don't really get why they don't give Michael King a start, and I don't get why they don't give Debbie Garcia a start. We got another comment from Vinny. With that said, get it to Chapman, and it's a wrap. Yeah. And Chapman has been really good, and the Yankee bullpen has been really good. That's been the one strength of the team this year. If they could somehow get a lead to this bullpen like they did about a week ago against Toronto, and then last night, they definitely could win the game. The problem is these starters are not given leads to this bullpen. They're usually losing, and their offense can't come back from any deficit. So that's why they're sitting where they're sitting right now.
Yeah, because Chapman, 13 of the 19 batters he faced that struck him out, and that splitter is just unhittable that he added. So Chapman, it's like he's gonna close out games in the 9th inning. You got it, he's gonna finish it out for us. So they got to figure out a way to get to him. But Green's been good. Licky came in last night, in a tie game, and I thought pitched pretty well. They got it. Wilson got him. Got out of the jam with Freeman.
Yeah, that's big. That's big of Justin Wilson getting out of that jam with Freddie Freeman up. That was big.
Yeah.
So the bullpen has been the pleasant surprise. Without Zach Britton, it has clearly been the strength of this team so far.
Yeah, it's like So it's like if they can just get 5-6 innings out of starters every night, but with this lineup right now, it's like they got to keep it under less than 2 runs, and you would think going in, it's like you could afford to give up like 3 to 4 runs, and you still feel pretty good. But right now, it's you can't. You gotta keep it under 3. Unfortunately for this offense, it's kind of like you want to keep saying this offense is gonna wake up at some point, but it's like their at bats are just horrible, and it's like none of the and. When we talk about the Red Sox too in a second, it's like the Red Sox have been making adjustments at the plate. I don't see it from the Yankees. I just don't. And that's the concerning part.
There's been one game, I think the last like 7 or 8 games, they've scored more than 5 runs. That was that Sunday game in extra innings against the Rays, and they only had 4 runs going into extra innings. So, this offense has been really disappointing so far. and they don't have the pitching. They don't have the depth in the rotation to make up for it, and that's why they're. And like else I've said, that's why they're sitting where they're sitting.
Yeah, they are, and it's concerning. And then with Boone too, going back to that for a second. I get, the thing is, it's like, I know he had the meeting Friday night and they said he was angry, but it's like, he's not that type of guy where it's like, they kind of just, it worked for 2 innings on Saturday, but they couldn't really knock out Glass now. He's not the guy to rattle the bat rack. He's not the guy to, to get into you. And they need that. They need somebody like that right now. And Boone's really not that guy. And it's, it's kind of been trickling down.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like at times the team doesn't care.
Yeah,
seems like they're just going. It just seems like they're just going through the motions.
Yeah, and I hate questioning guys' hearts, because all these professional actors, they know they care, but it does seem like they act like they don't really care. I know Judge, I think it was Sunday, was not happy after his third or fourth strikeout on Sunday. Going back to the dugout, and it's like that was really the first time I've ever, I've seen one of these hitters actually show some emotion.
Yep.
And I know nowadays strikeouts, they don't matter like they used to, but still, it's like you got to put the bat on the ball and do something. And yeah, they need an energy. They need something. They need a spark. Like again, maybe I'm talking like a crazy Yankee fan here, but I don't think it would be out of the question to go get like a package of Jeremy Marquise and Trevor Story from Colorado, because it's like they need a jolt of something.
I know. Yeah.
They do.
Yep.
And I don't think it would be outrageous because price, because Trevor Story's gonna be a free agent. I think Marquise is under control for another 2 years, maybe 3, maybe. So again, that's something I was thinking about, but they need a jolt from somebody because Boyd's not coming back to May. Maybe. So
absolutely. And obviously with Jay Bruce is retired now and Mike Ford's up, so Mike Ford's got to step up because Jay Bruce, when he was playing, was not doing the job.
No, unfortunately, he had that big home run, or not big home. I mean, he had the 2-run single back like the second game of the year, and then he had a solo shot.
The funny thing with Mike Ford is I always think of Ted Keese. Because him, Joe, and Trevor like 2 years ago were talking on the roll call, and I commented Mike Ford wasn't any good, and then Mike Ford hit a game-winning home run in like August of that year, and then Ted Keese, he messages me and says, "How's Mike? How do you like Mike Ford now?" And I always think of Ted Keese when I think of Mike Ford because he brought up this random player. He said I kind of like Mike Ford. I'm like, Mike Ford's terrible, and then he hits the home run, and he started playing well from there on out.
He's playing well. I don't know why they waited to bring him up, but because I don't know how he was not better than Jay Bruce, but because you could see defense improved last night too. He made a nice play that ninth inning with that pop up. I think he made it was the first second inning. Made a nice scoop over there. His defense looks like it's improved. So, again, hopefully he gives us something with a bat. I think he will at some point. But, yeah, I've always liked Mike Ford. I like the mustache. It's weird to see a Yankee with facial hair. It's very, very rare.
Yeah, they usually don't. Back when George was there, he would have made him shave it during the game. He wouldn't have cared.
Oh, yeah. No, he would not. That's the other thing. Hicks, too, George. Hicks probably would have been traded at 5 o'clock on Sunday evening.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. So we'll look at the road ahead for the Yankees, and tonight it's Corey Kluber against Ian Anderson for the Braves. They got their second game of their 2-game series against the Braves. Anderson.
Do you remember his debut last year? I think Boyd was the only one that got a hit off him.
Wow.
Which is very scary.
Wow. And then we got the 4-game series in Cleveland. You got Montgomery against Allen, Cole on Friday night against McKenzie. Bieber pitching Saturday. The Yankees haven't announced a starter. That should be maybe a spot for a Michael King. That'd be a nice spot for a Michael King there. That'd be a nice spot for him there. And then you got Tyone against Plesac. So this is a series. I think the Yankees in these next 5 games at least need to win 3 of them. They need to win 3 of them. The Braves. They're lucky that the Braves don't have Acuna. The Indians are not a great team, especially offensively. So they really, I think tonight's going to be a tough game because you got Anderson against Kluber. But this Indian series in Cleveland, they got to take 3 out of 4.
Definitely, they have to. I don't know if they will, but you hope at some point. But yeah, I think the Indians could be good for him because it could be a pretty low scoring series all around. Because the Indians offense hasn't been great. They're at 8-8 right now, so it's a big series. You got to be able to win with close there. Look, I know they got the Bieber right now last year in the playoffs, but the way they're hitting right now,
you can't go off with the way they were hitting at that point last year to right now. So Bieber is going to be a very tough matchup for the Yankees, seeing the way the Yankees are hitting.
Yeah. So, and again, the Indians have a good bullpen too. So they get behind as well. It could be very problematic. So they got to be able to score some runs against this Indians pitching to feel comfortable because again, the Yankees bullpen should be able to to shut them down if their starters can do enough. But they do have to win three out of the next four because then you go to Baltimore after that, and Baltimore's not great.
Schedule is very favorable because they got Baltimore on the road, and then they host the Tigers. So the schedule is favorable, definitely, after the Cleveland series. And they should take care of business against Cleveland if they're going to be a top team in the American League this year.
Yeah, 100%. I know Cleveland's probably going to, probably going to be trying to get to one of that wild card spots. But, it's a team that has a really good pitching staff. But, the offensive struggle. They usually do pretty well, against the Indians, I feel like. So, I think, past history, they've done well against Cleveland. And, this is a big series to really kind of see, it may be good for them, too, to get out of New York. It may, to get out the booze, get away from kind of the fans for a week and just get on the road. I think could definitely help them, too, be able to go to Cleveland and take some.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we got to move on to Vinny's team, the Red Sox, and they're right now 12-6, best record in the American League. And the biggest difference between the Red Sox and Yankees is the offense. The Red Sox right now, number one in runs scored, first in all of baseball in runs scored. The Yankees 25th in baseball in runs scored. The Red Sox, they got all their big guys hitting. Bogarts has been great. JD right now is the AL MVP early, but he's the AL MVP right now. Rafael Devers has been hitting the ball well. And Alex Verdugo's been hitting the ball well. And Christian Vasquez has been hitting the ball well. So they've been really hitting. Their offense they've been on fire offensively, and they've done it against two really good starters the last two games. They did it against Giolito on Monday on Patriots Day, and they did it against Ryu last night. So they've been doing it against good pitchers, and their starting pitching has been surprisingly good. Evaldi's been good. Erod's 3-0. Pavetta's been pretty good. And then their bullpen, Matt Barnes, they found a closer in Matt Barnes. So this Red Sox team right now, let's just admit it, this team's going to be in it they're going to be in it for the long haul. They're going to be in it till September. I don't know if they're going to be they got the best record in the American League right now. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team, but this team definitely will be in contention. I think until late September, the way their offense, the way they've been hitting the ball, they're hitting a lot better than they were last. They were okay. They were pretty good offensively last year. They're the best in baseball right now offensively this year. Their pitching is much improved, and they got a closer. That's the recipe to at least stay in a race until September. And if this continues, they're definitely going to be a playoff team and have a very good chance of staying in first place and winning the AL East.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Again, they got swept to Baltimore. It was kind of like, all right, season's over. I
thought after that sweep against Baltimore, it was going to be a long year for the Sox. I thought it was going to be a long year, and then they swept Tampa Bay. Remember that game? Yeah. They had that game where they were losing. They were losing a couple times in their last at bat, in the ninth inning and then the 10th inning, and they came back and they won that game. We even said this team is this. That showed a lot about this team. That showed you that things were going to be different this year. And now they're even taking it next level. Splitting with the White Sox. And then beating the Blue Jays last night. They're taking this thing next level now. Alex Cora's done a great job so far coming back. I mean, I don't like saying as a Yankee fan the Red Sox are playing really well, but I got to admit they've done a really good job so far.
Yeah, they have. Cora has, and Cora's come in too, and the team just, and another kind of difference I see from this team than the Yankees, this team just has fun. They just have fun with each other. They just have fun playing the game. And I know it's, you're not supposed to have fun when you're losing, but even like the first, second inning, the Yankees could be a tie game. It's just like, they're kind of just lifeless. The Red Sox are into
this Red Sox team, very similar to the Sox team in 2013, and very similar to this Yankee team in 2017, where they're having a lot of fun and they have really good chemistry. And I think this thing's going to last throughout the season.
Yeah, I do too. Again, guys hit a home run and they're throwing guys in the laundry cart and throwing them around in the dugout. Like they're just having fun. And it too. I know I said we were talking the Yankees. It's like the first time around they may not get much going. It's the second time around they all make adjustments. They all Again, I don't know if it's just, they're watching video.
I think it's management. I think it's the manager. I think Alex Cora makes him. You're right. Your at bat was bad the first time around. Watch the tape and make it better the second time around. Aaron Boone's probably not doing that. Alex Cora is probably making those players do that. I mean, yeah, say what you want about Alex Cora and the cheating scandal and everything, but the guy's a really good manager.
Yeah, he is. He's done a great job, and again, he's made a total difference this year than last. With Renicky, and again, the substitute teacher. I think last year Renicky. Now you get your teacher back, and his team's just having fun. And I think the veterans too that they've gotten. Like, they're just guys, too, that just, they've been saying just really like and love the game. They love playing with this team. And it's kind of, they just kind of brought a positive kind of, kind of mindset to the Boston. And I think it's really helped. And it's, Bogarts hit his first home run last night in a big one. A 3-run shot that put him ahead. Like, again, he's going to be a 25-run home run hitter he'll get there at some point. Throughout the years. With Martinez, the rotation. Then Garrett Whitlock, you remember him as he was a Yankees farmhand.
I never even heard of him. Pick. Yeah, I never even heard of him.
I think he got called up maybe for like a game out of the bullpen, but I don't think he pitched in it. I believe like 2 years ago. I think last year at Tommy John, and I think the Red Sox picked him up in the Rule 5, and he's been great. And next year they're saying he'll be in the rotation with them next year. So it's like, again, like they found kind of pieces. In Barnes, Barnes has been lights out. It's just, it's just they put it together, and it's I was sitting there I had to do the Easter game. I was sitting there laughing they're down like 10-2, and I was just laughing. I'm like, this is gonna be a long year for these guys, and I'm gonna enjoy it, but they have caught fire since.
Yeah, the hosts were probably going crazy on Red Sox Review after that game.
Oh yeah, Barrett. Yeah, Barrett.
Barrett was doing Red Sox Review.
Yeah,
after that game,
post game. Yeah.
Oh really? They were probably ripping the team, but since then they've won 12 of the last 15, and this is a team right now. I think definitely is going to be a team that is going to be in it for the long haul this year. I think they're going to be in it. I don't know if they're going to win the division because their depth in the bullpen and their depth in the rotation, but I think this is definitely a team that's in it for the long haul. I mean, I think they proved that in the first month of the season.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because last year, you talk about that lineup again. They had the best batting average last year in the American League. I know the pitching stats not great, but again, it's kind of like the Yankees. If their pitchers just give them enough night in, night out, their offense is going to score. And right now, their offense is showing they can score runs. Not like the Yankees. They're kind of showing even if their pitchers have a bad night, they can hang in there. I think they've had like 6 or 7 yards. I think 6 comeback wins already this year. So
wow.
It's like when this team's behind, again, they're not phased. They're confident they can come back. So I definitely see this team kind of being there in September, kind of going down to the end.
Absolutely. And we'll look at the road ahead for the Red Sox. And tonight it's game 2 of their series. Is game 2 or game 3 of their series against the Blue Jays? Game 2. And they're game 2, the short 2-game series with is it 2-game series with the Blue Jays?
Yeah, 2-game series. Yep.
And then 4 with the Mariners. So it's a 2-game series with the Blue Jays. You got Richards against Thornton. Then you got Pivetta against Dunn this week against the Mariners. You got Perez against I can't even pronounce the pitcher on the Mariners' name. You got Evaldi against Flexen, and then Erod against another pitcher on the Mariners. I can't really pronounce his name. And the Mariners are surprised at 11-7. Yeah. But I think the Red Sox. This is a team at home. I think they take 3 out of 4 against the Mariners. And I think tonight will be a tough game because Garrett Richards is pitching. But I think this team goes at least 3-2 in their next 5 games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they can. I think 3-2, 4-1. Tonight's probably going to be a home run derby fest with those 2 guys on the mound, with Thornton and Richards. So Richards looked a little bit better in his last start, so I think they feel a little bit better about him. Again, another decent start. Yeah, this team could be definitely 3-2, 4-1. Again, close out the month of April in a very, very high note. So, I could see this Boston team kind of in this homestand right now. Kind of ending at 3-2 and being there, as we talked about, they're gonna be right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, when you do all the things they've done well, if you hit well, I don't care what your expectations are going into the season. If you hit well in baseball, if you pitch pretty well, and you have a good bullpen, you're going to be a playoff team. And the Red Sox have been doing that through the first month of the season. So if this obviously continues, they're going to be a playoff team. Like and that was the thing, with the Yankees, 4 years ago in 2017. They didn't have high expectations, but they pitched pretty well. Their bullpen was great, and their lineup with Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez coming on was great as well. So if all those things come together, you're going to be a playoff team. And right now, all those things are coming together for the Sox.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And all three of those phases are working. It's pretty tough to beat you. And then two, I really like the mix that they have. They have some younger guys, but then they also have the veterans of Marvin Gonzalez. Hunter Renfroe, again, bringing in Garrett Richards. Like they just, I love the mix that they have too. They have guys in there to help out the younger guys. Again, Core's been a great manager. So it's, again, they have all the pieces right now. And they're playing well. And they're a team. Yeah, they didn't have any expectations. And I think they're going out there every night just playing freely and not really caring but again, nobody expected them for this right now. Everybody's stunned up there in Boston right now, the way the team's been playing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who would have thought the Patriots would miss Brady more than the Sox would miss Betts? But that's the reality right now. But to wrap up baseball, we gotta talk about what's, I think, the biggest rivalry in the National League. And you could argue right now it could be the biggest rivalry in all of baseball. I'll still give that to the Yankees and Red Sox. But the Padres and Dodgers right now, as you saw last weekend with the benches clearing in one of the games going extra innings. It was a good series. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3. But right now with the stars on the field, with the Dodgers, with all their stars, Cody Bellinger won't play, but with Mookie Betts, with Corey Seager, with Max Muncy, with all the stars the Dodgers have, and then you look at the stars the Padres have with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Eric Hosmer and Manny Machado, and then you look at the rotations of both teams with Blake Snell. You had Musgrove who threw a no-hitter with and Yu Darvish, and then you look at the Dodgers with Clayton Kershaw. You look at the Walker Buehler. You look at and Trevor Bauer. So you look at all the star power on the field with both teams. I mean, the Dodgers obviously playing better than the Padres. Dodgers right now are 14-4. Padres are 10-9. But if you look at the star power, this is probably the most to watch these two teams play. If you're not a fan of either of these two teams, you still watch when these two teams play. Anybody else, if you're not a fan of the teams, you're really not watching. But if these two teams are playing, you're definitely paying attention. You're definitely watching. That's why I was disappointed that these two teams weren't even on anywhere last week, which I thought was ridiculous. And I thought it was bad at baseball not to put these two teams on anywhere last week. I mean, you had the Braves and Cubs, the Sunday night game. I was not a fan of that. I'd rather see the Padres and the Dodgers. But yeah. I mean, I think these two teams are top teams to watch, and I'm really excited for this weekend. The Padres-Dodgers game is the Sunday night game, so I'll definitely be watching that on Sunday night, and I think it's going to be another great series this week. But in your opinion, is this the best rivalry in baseball? And we all know it's the best rivalry in the National League, but is this becoming the best rivalry in baseball?
I think it possibly could, maybe another year or two. Obviously, I'm a Yankee fan, so I still give that Yankee-Red Sox as the top rivalry in baseball right now. Obviously, I know the Red Sox, haven't, last few years they've kind of been downwards, but again, right now they look like they're gonna, obviously they're right there. I just think with both clubs, there's just so much history and just hate between both teams. I still give that one, but I think, but the other thing is too, it's like the Dodgers have the best record against any opponent since like 2013 they have the best record against the Padres since 2013 against, any other, result, throughout Major League Baseball. So it's like it hasn't been a rivalry yet. So it's really until the Padres start knocking off the Dodgers, I'm kind of one of those, like, it's turning into a rivalry.
It can't be a rivalry until the Padres start winning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So until the Padres start beating them, maybe I'll put them ahead of Yankees Red Sox, maybe, but again, it did feel like October baseball last weekend when I was watching. Sunday they were on Major League Network at 4.
MLB Network. Okay.
They were Sunday. Friday and Saturday, I did.
But it did have that October feel to it.
It did, yes, it did. It did in San Diego. Again, I think the San Diego fans too, they just haven't been able to experience this either.
I know. I mean, imagine this summer if they could get full capacity for this. Oh my God, that place gonna be going crazy. Petco Park's gonna be going crazy for this rivalry.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's why it's gonna be interesting how it is, this weekend in LA. Like, how does LA fans kind of with the Padres, because it's like a team that you beat up on, so it's like. I want to see if there's like that same amount of energy from Dodgers.
They're really close to each other though. They're like 2 hours from each other, so they're really close too.
Okay, so I could see it, being another big weekend. But yeah, it again, it was fun. You saw the brawl Friday night, going at each other, Manny. But yeah, this is two kind of teams that really do not like each other. I think Justin Turner said it last week. He said these are like 19 World Series games against the Padres. So, both teams will be fired up. But again, I think the other thing is too, it's the Dodgers are up 5 games. So it's Dodgers like win 2 of 4 this weekend. It's like they're already up 7 games. It's like they're pretty much already running away and hiding.
I think the players don't like each other. The thing is I think it's a rivalry with the players. Is it going to be a rivalry with the fans? That's going to be the big question.
Yeah, and we'll see, because I know Dodger fans. It's like I know the Giants too. The Giants have been surprised. They were last year. And I know Dodgers Giants fans cannot stand each other as well. Probably. So that's where it's like, how much hate is there for the Padres or Dodgers fans? Because their real rival, it has been the Giants forever. Since they both moved out west. So it'll be interesting how the Dodger fans kind of react to. But yeah, Padre fans, they're loving. They were actually chanting. I know Sunday. I can't remember if it was Friday, Saturday too. They were chanting, "Let's beat LA, beat LA."
That's kind of a common chant. That started with the Celtic fans back in the '80s with the against the Lakers, and it's been going on for years. Beat LA has been going on for years.
Oh yeah, that was like the first time I remember kind of hearing it, but but yeah, so the Dodger fans loved it, but it was great to kind of feel that October baseball. Literally like the third weekend of the year. Like, you don't really ever see that. Like, and this weekend I am excited to watch both teams again, because it's good for baseball when you get two kind of teams like this, and you're excited to watch a series in April. Especially because it's so bad too. It's like,
I know,
it's really cool to actually kind of want to sit down and watch a Dodgers Padres game and be excited about it in April. Usually that doesn't really happen.
No,
it's great for the sport.
Oh, it is, and we'll go to this weekend and look at some of the pitching matchups. And on Thursday night, it's Weather versus Buehler. Then Friday, we got a great matchup. You got Darvish against Kershaw. That's a great matchup. Another great matchup on Saturday, Snell against Bauer. Then Sunday, the Sunday night game, you got Joe Musgrove, who threw the no hitter a couple of weeks ago against May. So I'm excited for this series. I think it's gonna be split. I think both these teams split. I think they split with each other.
Yeah, I'll go with the split. I think it's a big weekend for the Padres to kind of somewhat stay close to the Dodgers, as close as they can. So, yeah, I think they got to be able to get 2 out of the 4, and I think Padres could kind of feel good about themselves. So, I'll go with Padres Dodgers split.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. So, it should be really, really interesting. We got some news in the NBA. We got some players returning. Lamelo Ball is close to returning, and Anthony Davis is. But before that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast, Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. But speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make my. I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that. There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Thank you, Ted and Trevor. They should be on Friday talking about the Yankees and getting you ready for the NFL draft. Obviously, next week will be a huge week for all shows, getting ready for the NFL draft. But listen to them, Keys to the City, every Friday. Trevor, Ted, and they've had Joe on the last couple of weeks, so it'll probably be Trevor, Ted, and Joe on Friday afternoon. So listen to Keys to the City Friday afternoon. But we got to get to the NBA, and Lamelo Ball has been cleared to get back to basketball activities for the Hornets, and there's a lot of rumors that he will be returning in 7 to 10 days. And if he could come back and they can get Gordon Hayward back, right now I don't think this team is going to get out. They're not going to avoid the play-in tournament. The Hornets are going to be in the play-in tournament. They're too far behind the Heat, Knicks, and Celtics not to get into the play-in tournament, and they lost to the Knicks last night, so they're going to be in the play-in tournament. But the big question is for them, what seed are they going to end up getting in that play-in tournament? I think they'll probably end up being the 8 seed, so they're going to probably have to play. They could get into a matchup with the Heat because the Hawks are playing well, so it looks like the Hawks are going to avoid that play-in tournament. So it looks like they'd have to play the Heat in the first round. So say they'd have to play the Heat in the first round of the play-in tournament, they would probably lose that, and then they'd probably have to beat maybe the Pacers, Raptors, or Bulls in the second game, which I think they will. As the play-in tournament will work, as the play-in tournament works, is the 7 seed plays the 8 seed, the 9 seed plays the 10 seed. If the 7 seed beats the 8 seed, the 7 seed becomes that winner becomes the 7 seed. The 7 and 8 winner becomes the 7 seed, and then the winner of the game, the two losers of the 7 and 8 and the 9, and the loser of the 7-8 and the winner of the 9-10 play each other for who was going to be the 8 seed. So that's how the play-in tournament works. So for the Hornets, say they lose that 7-8 game to the Heat, and then they get into that elimination game with either the Bulls, Pacers, or Raptors. I do think they beat one of those teams and get the number 8 seed. So that's where I think the Hornets will end up falling, because I think they're going to get Gordon Hayward back too before the season ends. So it'll be big for them, with Rozier, Hayward, and Ball. And Ball was playing really well before he got hurt. He was averaging over 20 points a game. So I think getting Lamelo Ball back means this team is going to get into the body of the playoffs. I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs, but I do think they're going to get into the body of the playoffs with Lamelo Ball back. But the question I want to ask you, Justin, is, do you think the Hornets can get into the body of the playoffs? I know they'll be in the play-in tournament. Can they get into the body of the playoffs, the top 16, with the return of Lamelo Ball?
I think they can be. I think they will. As long as him and Gordon Hayward have enough time to come back and play enough games before the play-in tournament, I think this team can. Because look, both made moves for Nikola Vucevic, but again, they beat the Celtics Monday night, but they really haven't been playing well. The Pacers haven't been great either. Again, maybe the Raptors haven't. They've been underperforming. So I think they can be. I think if they get the 8, they probably lose to Miami, and I see them beating the Pacers, Bulls, Wizards, or Raptors. I could see them being any one of those 4 and being the 8th seed. And I think for the Hornets and Hornets fans, I think that's a good step in the right direction. I know they've been 8 seeds a couple of times in the Kemba, but they didn't really have any other kind of young stars with them, or now they kind of have a future. So I feel like the Hornets can get at least the bye of the playoffs. I think I think their fans would be feeling good about themselves about going to next year. You probably can get swept by the Sixers, maybe 1-1, but yeah, if Ball gets enough time and he looks like he did when he got hurt, I think the Hornets will be able to get one of the 2 spots in that play-in tournament, or get out of the play-in tournament into the body of the tournament.
Gotcha. And you're with me. You don't think they have any shot at getting the number 7 seed?
No, because they're 2.5 back of Boston. They still have 2 games left though. Boston.
I think the only way they could is say Atlanta falls apart and falls to that 7 spot. I think they could beat Atlanta in a 1-game situation. I think that's where they would be able to get the 7 seed. But outside of that, if Atlanta doesn't fall, if it's Miami, the Knicks, or the Celtics, I don't think they're going to beat one of those 2 teams in the play-in tournament.
No, probably not. I don't think they would either. They have the Celtics 2 more times, so they knock them off twice. Again, the Celtics have been so up and down. I can't get a feel of this team. I know they have an illness right now, kind of within the team that's COVID related, not COVID related, but if the Hornets, they're 2.5 back, they tweet this out, which is gonna be tough. Yeah, obviously last night they lost to the Knicks, but they didn't have Monk either. They didn't have Graham, I don't think, either. So it's like they kind of banged up. But yeah, most likely I see this team in the play, and I don't really see a way to get them the 6th seed unless they sweep Boston. But I think that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it definitely will be. But it'd be nice to see the Hornets in the playoffs. It'd be nice to see a Ball brother in the playoffs. It looks like the Pelicans are not going to make the playoffs. And as you saw, and a big reason for that is the game, the last 2 games they lost. As you saw the game on Sunday, Sam Van Gundy was not holding back I thought originally that was because of what Lonzo Ball did, leaving Bullock wide open in the corner, but it really was Eric Bledsoe not fouling. But Stan Van Gundy didn't hold back on that collapse by the Pelicans on Sunday.
No, we did not. They were not happy. That was the game they should have probably. The Pelicans should have won that game. Yeah, because now they're 4 back of the Spurs. So yeah, they're in a world of hurt right now, trying to get back into it. But yeah, that was a very, very tough loss on Sunday. Yeah, I don't blame Van Gundy for being upset about that.
Yeah, that's another story for another day. But yeah, the Pelicans have definitely been disappointing. They've been disappointing. But we got to go to we got to talk about a former Pelican, and that's Anthony Davis, and he has a chance to be back, and as early as Thursday, he's got a chance to be back with the Lakers. So that's really, really big, and this is a big week for the Lakers. People don't realize this is a big week for the Lakers because they're 4 games up on the Mavericks. The Mavericks should win tonight against the Pistons. So tomorrow night's a big game for the Lakers because they'd only be, I don't know if the Lakers play tonight or not, but if they don't, they'd only be 3.5 ahead of the Mavericks. And say the Mavericks win both games in Dallas, they would only be a game and a half. They'd only be a game and a half ahead of the Mavericks, and there could be a potential shot. They lose these 2 games. There is a chance the Lakers could be in that play-in tournament. And yes, I know, and I've been saying this all year. When the Lakers are healthy, they're the clear favorite to go to the NBA Finals with AD, LeBron, Drummond, and Schroeder and Harrell. They're the clear favorite to go to the Finals. But they somehow got to get in this play-in tournament, and anything could happen in a 1-game situation. You could lose to a Memphis, and then you could lose to to Steph Curry, and you could be gone. So anything can happen in a play-in tournament. But I think with Davis returning. And I do think they'll take care of business in one of these 2 games against the Mavs this week. But with Davis returning, I don't think they're going to get all the way up to the 3 seed. But I think they end up getting the number 4 seed because I do think they overtake Denver because of Jamal Murray being out. But the question I got for you, Justin, is there any way they can move all the way up to the 3 seed with Anthony Davis returning?
No, they can't. They're 5 back. I don't see any way with, about 10 games left, something, or about 15, something like that they got left. So – I don't see it because I believe too they don't believe they play the Clippers one more time too. So I don't see them being able to climb 5 games up, especially LeBron's probably still early May, I think they're saying. So I don't see it. I don't think there's any way that they get up to the number 3 seed. I could see them getting in the 4 spot with Denver. Jokic's been playing really, really well since Murray got hurt, but maybe the 4 I could see him, but definitely not the 3.
Yeah, I think the 3 is pretty much a long shot for them. I think they're going to get up to the 4, but 4 seed. But they got to be careful this week. This week they got to be. It's a big week for them with those 2 games with the Mavericks. This is a really, really big week for them because if they lose those 2 games, there's a chance that they could be in that play-in tournament. And I think that's the one thing that's going to stop the Lakers from making a finals run. I think if they're not in the play-in tournament, I think this team is going to get to the finals. I think they're clearly the best team in the West.
Yeah, these are 2 big ones. The Mavericks, I just do not understand. I saw them Sunday night play the Kings, and it was just like they didn't seem like they wanted to show up that night. But so I can't tell what Mavericks team's going to show up. You would hope the Lakers come to town for 2 games, and you would hope you're going to get the Mavericks' best effort. But who knows at the moment? So. Yeah, if they can at least get a split, and then it's like the rest of the month, it's at Orlando, at Washington, and then home against Sacramento. So it's like they can just find a way to win 1 at Dallas. So you should finish the month at like 4-1, and kind of you should be able to avoid that playing game. And yeah, if this team can, especially I know we'll talk about Mitchell, but now he's hurt. We talked about Murray, getting him being hurt. Again, the Clippers are going to be a challenge. I love, the Suns are absolute great story this year, but they haven't been here. I know they have Chris Paul, but they haven't really been here yet. So who knows, what happens with them in the playoffs, especially, if they're sitting there at the 2 and the Lakers at the 7, again, I think the Lakers probably knock them off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If it winds up being, yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, yeah, but what I've always said though, with the play-in tournament, if the Lakers get into that, you never know. If they could just get a 5 or a 6 seed, they pretty much are going to be – I don't care what seed they get. I think they're still going to be able to make a run in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're sitting at the 4-5. I think I would love to see the Jazz make a run at this thing. I really would. I'd love to see like a Jazz or Suns or Nuggets before Murray got hurt to make a run to the finals. But yeah, I just don't see him. If LeBron has enough time and AD have enough time to kind of ramp things up and get back to playing. I know Drummond had a tough one, I think Monday night, I think it was. But again, with those three, I don't see anybody in the Western Conference. If they're playing well and they're healthy, I don't see anybody knocking off the Lakers. Yeah, if they somehow if they just avoid the playing game, it's gonna be very tough to knock them off.
Absolutely. So we'll stay in the Western Conference and talk about a team that some people think are the favorite. I don't. I still think they're clearly the third best team in the Western Conference, but they had a big injury on Friday as Donavon Mitchell sprained his right ankle. He's going to miss several games, probably the rest of the regular season, and they'll definitely have to cap him if they want any chance to make a run in the playoffs. But I do think they're going to get him back to the playoffs. But the big question is, will they slip out of that number one seed? How far will they fall? I just don't think they're going to fall further. I think the furthest they'll fall is the number 2 seed. I think the Suns, might overtake them for the number 1 seed, but I just don't think they're going to fall, further than the 2 seed. Their schedule's pretty favorable, and they still are a decent team without him. I mean, they still got Connolly, Gobert, Clarkson's picking off the bench, Ingles. They still have a good team they're still a pretty good team without him, even though I think they need him if they want any hope to make a run and win a championship. I still think they're a pretty good team without him, where they could tread water and end up being the number 2 seed. So the farthest I seeing them fall is the number 2 seed. How far do you see them falling, Justin, with Mitchell out?
Yeah, I see him falling probably the 2 seed because I think the rest of the month, their next 4 coming up. They play the Rockets tonight, which is, again, they should win. They have back-to-back with the Timberwolves, which they should win. Then they have the Kings. They should win all 4 of those before they go to Phoenix. So I think they probably fall the 2. But I think they do enough because they have enough talent around to hold off the Clippers for that 2 seed. So I do think they will land the number 2 seed. I don't think they'll fall beyond that. I think they'll hold off the Clippers. They have, you talk about, they have enough on that roster to be able to manage enough. Obviously, losing Mitchell is an absolute, it's a really tough loss for him, but they'll be able to manage their way.
Jay said they only got 3 games against teams with a winning record to close out the year. The number 1 seed is a lock. Listen, Jace, you don't have Donavon Mitchell, your best player, so nothing is a lock, and you're only a game and a half ahead of the Suns, and you play the Suns in Phoenix, so nothing is a lock right now. Okay, this is not the Lakers with LeBron being healthy. Okay, this is the Jazz. Okay. It's a little bit of a difference. Nothing is a lock with the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have never been to the conference finals since 2007. So there's nothing is a lock with the Utah Jazz, okay? Especially without their best player, okay? It's not a lock to the number 1 seed. I think it'll be the number 2 seed, and it's not a lock to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, defensive player, Rudy Gobert, and 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. That's the thing about the Jazz. Jazz fans, they brag about bench players and defensive players. That's what they brag about because they don't have much else to brag about, okay? Because they don't have LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard on their team, okay? So that's what they brag about, Jazz fans. They brag about defensive player of the year and 6th man of the year, okay? So saying that the number 1 seed is a lock is ridiculous, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's still 10, 15 games left to play. The Suns are a game and a half out, and you still play the Suns. So it's not a lock that you're getting the number 1 seed. I think you slip to the 2 seed. I don't think you slip that far without Mitchell, but it definitely makes a difference not having Donavon Mitchell.
No, it definitely does, and we've talked about it. The way they shoot the 3 ball, they've been great. But again, one night, if they just have an off night and they're just not hitting.
I know it's a 3 league, but if you live and die by the 3 and don't have a superstar, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, and again, I think again they have enough of great shooters around them where they should be okay. But again, you can't expect them to be all on every night without Mitchell. So yeah, 1 or 2 bad games down the stretch, I think could hurt them and be a 2 seed. So yeah, I would love to see the Jazz. I think I want to see the Jazz or the Suns be the 1 seed, which I think they will. I think it's a great story. But I think they'll finish at the 2. And again, who would have thought that the Suns were going to be the 1 seed?
I know. At the beginning of the season, who would have thought it? They didn't even make the playoffs last year. It shows you.
They were undefeated in the bubble, so it's like
they started to make a run there. Booker started to get hot, and then they add Chris Paul. And even though Chris Paul's not the scorer he once was, I think his leadership is big, and I think that's a big reason why he is the biggest reason why they are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, definitely. Paul, it's not the scorer he used to be, but he's averaging like 15 points and 9 assists. It's like that, you'll take that any night of the week. And with his veteran leadership in the locker room, with Booker, and Mikal Bridges has been good this year. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a great story to see the Phoenix Suns where they are.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. But we'll stay in the Western Conference again. We'll talk about the Steph Curry and his amazing, amazing run. 11 straight games of 30 points or more. He's the oldest player to do that consecutively. He broke Kobe Bryant's record on Monday when he put up 49 against the Sixers. I mean, the guy's just been phenomenal. You look at the shots he's making, just unreal. I mean, contested three-pointers. He's the best shooter ever. I think last year a lot of people forgot how great Steph Curry is. He's a top 3 player in the game. The problem is the team around him is absolutely terrible. That team didn't have Steph Curry. They'd probably be the worst, like they were last year. They'd probably be the worst team in the NBA. So, I mean, I think Steph Curry should get some MVP consideration. I know Jokic, I know Jokic and Embiid are up there, but I definitely think that Steph Curry should get some MVP consideration for the way he's played this year. He's just been absolutely phenomenal. He's the best shooter we're ever going to see, and I hope the Warriors somehow get out of the play-in tournament and get like the number 8 seed, because it would be fun to see Steph Curry in a playoff series and say, Jace's Utah Jazz, without Donavon Mitchell, have to play Steph Curry. That's going to be a series. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, it could. They could. The way Curry shoots the ball. But yeah, it was, amazing. I remember, Saturday night when they played the Celtics, I think there was one, he shot the ball left-handed and he was like an and one. And, like left-handed, he got hit. There's a couple of times. Because I thought Marcus Smart, when he was on, and played some pretty good defense, and he just hit some great shots, and Smart just ran down the floor with it's like, like what else can I do to stop him? That's kind of what happens at Curry. So you can kind of stick to him like glue, but he's still gonna hit majority of the shots, and it's been impressive. I think he does have to get some MVP consideration because you talk about it too. Again, they were the second worst team last year. Now again, he's kind of gotten them to 500. I know it's not great, but they're 500. They're hovering around. I know they're like the 9th seed right now, but
in the West, a little bit different doing that in the West than doing it in the East.
Oh yeah, 100%. The competition's a lot tougher as it has been the last few years. But yeah. So I'd put him third on my MVP list at the moment. I'm with you on. I got him Embiid and Jokic, in front of him, but I think he totally should. It's been impressive from what he's been doing to try to keep this team afloat right now.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's just been absolutely amazing. And would you have as the MVP right now? I would still go to. I'd still go with Embiid because he's the best. He's put up all these points. He's had a great season on a great team.
Yeah, I have him third. I have Embiid, and then I put Jokic number 2, especially the way he's been playing since Murray's gone out. I think the other night like 47 and like 16 rebounds. I'd put him third, and I put Curry third. He's had a great year, but again, Embiid and Jokic, teams have been all around better. So I have to put him third. But he definitely should get consideration. He has been amazing right now.
And Jace made a comment. In the East, Steph would have the Warriors fighting for the 3 seed, and that's one thing I will agree with. I will agree with Jace there. I will agree with Jace there. Yes, there's a very good chance. Looking at the fact the Hawks are the number 4 seed in the East, Steph would definitely have the Warriors fighting for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, I could totally see it. Yeah, the competition's not great over there. So yeah, I could see them fighting for a 3 seed. And then I would probably say, he may probably be the MVP if he was playing over in the Eastern Conference. So
absolutely.
I could see him playing for that 3.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Eastern Conference, we got a surprise team in the Eastern Conference. That's the New York Knicks. They won their 7th straight game last night. And Julius Randle, yes, he didn't have a great night last night, but Julius Randle has been phenomenal. Dropped 44 against the Mavs, 33 in their win against the Pelicans in overtime on Sunday. Right now, the big question is Julius Randle a superstar? And in my opinion, I think that Julius Randle is an all-star. I wouldn't say superstar. I would say all-star. I still think I think he's a really good player, but I still think that RJ Barrett's got to be the best player on that team for the Knicks to be a championship contender. I think Barrett's got to be their best player. I think Randle's a really, really good player, but I think they need Barrett to be their best player for them to win a championship. But that's no knock against Randle. He's had an unbelievable year. He's definitely the most improved player. The way he shot threes, averaging over 25 points a game, the biggest reason that the Knicks are in the position they're in. So Julius Randle's had a phenomenal year, and if you look at the Knicks right now, I think there's a chance they could definitely avoid this play-in tournament and get that number, get one of those top 6 seeds. I think there's a very good chance of that. And we'll see what happens if they get in the first round. But I like where they are right now. If they somehow play the Hawks tonight at the Garden, but if they play the Hawks in the first round, I really like their chances. But the first question I'll ask Justin to you is, in your opinion, is Julius Randle a superstar?
I think he's getting there. Maybe next year, I think he gets that spot. But I think one more year of this type of production, I think he will be at that level, because especially playing the New York market and what he's done for this team, he's had an unbelievable year. I'm with you. Most improved player, definitely. He's been a huge spark for this team. And the guy, kind of looked like with the Lakers for that first kind of 2-3 years, like he was going to be a bust and he wasn't going to be the guy that we all thought of. But he is really has changed that narrative lately, this year. And
Hector's in the comment. Yeah, we're gunning for that fourth seed. Go Knicks. Nice. Hector's a Knicks fan too. Yankee fan. He likes all the teams I like. Hector. Yankees, Giants, Knicks. He likes all the teams I like. Yeah, and I think the Knicks. Yeah, the fourth seed is definitely doable for the Knicks. I think look at the way the Celtics have been inconsistent. The Heat have been inconsistent. The Hawks. You never know what's going to happen there. And obviously, here we go with Jace. Zay from Posting Up said Randle's in the MVP discussion. I as a Knicks fan, he's had a great year, but I just can't put him in that discussion. I just can't do that. I got to put he's still not in that discussion where Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid are. He's still not in that discussion, but he's had a great year. He's obviously the MVP of the Knicks, but it's just and I know Zay's a big Knicks fan and he wants to hype Randle up, and he's had and I think Zay was listening. Zay's listening too, and if he's listening, feel free to comment. I think he's had a great year. But I still wouldn't put him in the MVP conversation. I mean, if the Knicks were, one of the top 3 teams in the East, maybe. But seeing where the Knicks are, and it's great where the Knicks are. I mean, the Knicks have really overachieved, but I still don't have that MVP conversation. I don't have him in the MVP conversation. But he's had an outstanding year. I'll admit that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if they were a top 3 right now, I think he would be. Obviously, right now they're a 5 and they're kind of close. But yeah, if you told me if the Knicks were right there with the Sixers, Nets, and Bucks right now, like in one of those 3 spots with them, I think I'd definitely give him MVP consideration. That it's like Tom Thibodeau has done a great job of kind of developing this roster.
He's changed the culture because of he's brought a defensive mentality. Obviously, the number 1 team in defense, and we're just going to say it, bringing in some of his own guys, Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose has been really good off the bench. This Knick bench is one of the most underrated things about this team with Emmanuel Quickley and Derrick Rose. The Knick bench has definitely been very, very underrated. The contributions those guys have given off the bench have been really good for this team.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and then quickly too. He's been such a great surprise. Being a late kind of first rounder. Nobody really. Again, the expectations weren't high for him. I know Knicks were kind of been looking for that point guard of the future for years, but 11 points, averaging. Yeah, he's been really, really good, and I think Derrick Rose has been having Derrick Rose too in the locker room with him, I think is going to make him even better. That kind of have that mentor for him. And RJ Barrett, again, he's having a huge breakout season. He played pretty well again last night. I like Mitchell when he's healthy too. So it's like, they've had a really nice core. I know Thibodeau, again, one of the things that everybody kind of, backfired against Thibodeau is, the way he kind of uses the starters. But I think he's done a good job managing that. And then, with the bench, they have enough production on the bench to be able to they've been able to compete. They're getting enough production off the bench. And for
the way Thibodeau is using his starters, I think, hopefully he learns from his mistakes in Chicago and in Minnesota, and he does things a little bit differently with the Knicks, with Randle and with Barrett in the future. But I think this year he's got to change the culture. I think he's done a great job of that. But I hope eventually with Thibodeau, he learns from his mistakes and doesn't wear out Randle, and doesn't wear out Barrett. And speaking of Barrett, Hector just commented, much better than the record last year. RJ has been a great addition. Rose has definitely been a great addition. I'll agree with that. And then and RJ Barrett, but as the number 3 pick, he was expected to be a really good player for this team, and he's been that. Recently he's been great for this team. So he's been averaging 20 points a game, I think, in his last 15 games. So he's been great for this Knicks team, and I think he's got to be. If him and Randle become superstars, and they get a point guard, gets just a solid point guard, this team is a championship contender.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I like Derrick Rose, but I don't know if he could be that starting point guard at this stage in his career. But if they can get a point guard, just a pretty good point guard in free agency, and Randle and Barrett become superstars, you got a team now. You got a contender. You got the Knicks being championship contenders. Yeah, the Carmelo days, they got that one year they got to the conference semis. But if you could get Barrett and Randle to become superstars, and you get a solid point guard, this will be the first time the Knicks will be championship contenders. Knicks will be championship contenders for the first time in 2 decades.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's great for the league too, to have the Knicks be a contender. So yeah, if Barrett keeps developing the way he is, and Randle kind of the production he's been on, you add a point guard to this mix, and this is definitely a championship contender. And that'd be great. It'd be great for New York. And I don't know if you were one of these, because I remember a couple of Knicks fans, they were more excited for Knicks games this weekend than the Yankee games.
Yeah, because the way the Knicks have been playing. Yeah. New York likes the teams that overachieve. They don't like teams that underachieve. I could see that. I definitely could see that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the Knicks are fun to watch. The way they play defense. Yeah, they're not the high scoring team in the world, but the way they can beat anybody with the way they play defense. They're the way they play defense, they can hang in with anybody. Again, maybe the Nets, will be tough, because they're gonna have to score against them. But look, again, I've always loved Thibodeau's defense. It's great for New York to have this team kind of up, and it's unfortunate.
And Hector says 9 games over 500, we're winning at home. And that's a great point because Hector remembers this, those 90s Knicks teams with Pat Riley and Jeff Van Gundy, they were great in the Garden. And that's the big key. This team has got to be great in Madison Square Garden. If this team can be, they're going to be a consistent winner for years to come. And who would have thought 2 years ago we'd be talking about the Knicks this way? But if they can be great at Madison Square Garden, that is I'd say the best place in the NBA when you're playing well, because those fans love the Knicks. Those fans live for Knicks games when they're playing well. You probably don't remember, but you remember those Knicks days in the 90s when they had Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, John Starks, even back in the 99 team that got to the finals with Larry Johnson and Allen Houston. And that is a great place to be when the Knicks are winning. And you could ask Hector about that. He would agree with me.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen a Knicks game there yet, but I've seen some games at the Garden, and it's that arena is just great. Man, imagine if they can get up to that 4 seed too, and they get the first 2 games at home, and you hope maybe in another month you could up capacity just a little bit more. Man, how rocking the Garden's going to be. They can get a 4 spot, maybe you get the Nets in the second round.
Good point there. Latrell Sprewell. Yes. Latrell. I forgot about that one, Hector. Latrell Sprewell. Yes. That was a huge addition on that Knicks team in 99. If they don't get Sprewell, there's no way they go to the finals. So Latrell Sprewell, that was a huge addition to that 99 Knicks team that got to the finals. That upset the Heat in the first round when they were the 8th. Because the Knicks were the 8th seed that year. They upset the Heat in the first round, and then they beat the Pacers in that conference final with Larry Johnson. I was actually at that game where Larry Johnson had that 4-point play to win. So that was a great run. That was a good point there. Latrell, Houston, Larry Johnson. Those definitely were the good old days of the Knicks, right there.
Yeah, and maybe again, maybe this is you hope the new core right here. Yeah,
and Hector said it, only 8 seed to ever advance the NBA Finals. Yes, I mean we've had 1 seeds upset 8 seeds. I mean we had in '94 we had the Nuggets with Dikembe Mutombo upset Gary Payton. I think about 10 years ago the Memphis was an 8 seed and they upset with Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. They were the 8 seed and they upset San Antonio in the first round. So we've definitely had, and then that one year with Tom Thibodeau, we go back to Tom Thibodeau, when he lost Derrick Rose, the Sixers with Andre Iguodala and Drew Holiday, they upset the Bulls. So the Bulls in the first round. So we've had 8 seeds beat 1 seed. We never had an 8 seed go to the NBA Finals before the 99 Knicks. And the 99 Knicks still are the only number 8 seed to go to advance to the NBA Finals.
And the way the NBA now, that may be the only one for a long time. So yeah, the Knicks may have that record for a while, but yeah, I think they're getting back there. I think the Knicks are. You can see the fan base, even with the Nets. It's like it's still. I think it's always going to be a Knicks.
Oh, it's absolutely a Knicks town. The Nets might be better outside of New York. They're definitely a lot bigger outside of New York because there's 3 superstars with Kyrie, Durant, and Harden. But the heart of New York, it's absolutely a Knicks town.
Oh yeah, because the New York fans are so loyal. They're not going to jump on the Nets because they're loyal. All New York fans are loyal. So yeah, they're not jumping on Nets bandwagon. They're not gonna they're not gonna leave their team. So yeah, the Knicks fan base is great. When they're playing well, it's great. You even look at the team they're sharing with the Rangers have been on fire too recently. So
even though they lost the Islanders last night, 6-1, but we'll be talking about them once they get to the playoffs. We'll wait to talk about them when we get to the playoffs. Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, that last night hurt their.
We'll definitely be talking about the Islanders and Bruins. We'll see if we talk. We'll see if we'll be talking about the Rangers.
Yeah, hopefully in about a month we will. But again, Knicks right now, it's been a great story for the league.
Yeah, so we got a couple comments, Hector. Knicks represent NYC. The Knicks represent one borough in Brooklyn. That couldn't be more well said. The Knicks represent the city, and Nets represent the borough, the one borough in Brooklyn. And if you go to the New York metropolitan area or the tri-state area, they might represent North Jersey, but they left North Jersey, so they probably represent one borough. Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah, so that's why. Yes, he's made a great point about that being a Knick town. And Chase, Rangers going to the playoffs left. We'll get to that, okay? I know he's a Bruins fan. We'll get to the hockey stuff. We'll get to that. But before we wrap up on the Knicks, there will be 2 questions I got for you. One is, with the way the Knicks are playing, this is probably a pretty easy question. Do you think they're going to be able to avoid the play-in tournament? Should be an easy question.
Oh, I think they will. This team's on fire. I think they know it. There's confidence. Randle in the press conference the other day was great. I think they will. They beat the Hawks tonight. They're sitting there at the 4. I think they would sweep the Hawks too if they won tonight, right? I think
they would. Yeah, I think they'd be 2-0, 3-0. I think.
Yeah. So you had a couple games to handle with them. If the tiebreaker comes down to it, so I think they will avoid the playing games. Celtics, you can't get a read on, and he, you can't really get a read on him either this year. So I think they do. I think they avoid it. I think they get the 4 seed. I really do.
Wow. And say they get that 4 seed, can they win a series in the first round?
Yeah, they get Atlanta. I think they could. Boston, I think they could beat Boston in a 7-game series. I really do.
If they beat Boston, Brad Stevens is fired. There's no doubt Brad Stevens is out of a job. Brad Stevens is gone. If that would end Brad Stevens' career in Boston if they beat the Celtics in the first round.
Oh yeah, Celtics would not be very happy about that. And then he may be wanting to think about that. Maybe I should have took that in.
Exactly. Yeah.
I could see that. I could see them being Boston 7-game series. I could see them grinding them out in defensive series. So, as
Jay said, they would punk Boston. They got too much size. Good point. Very good point there. That's why I think they would probably have a chance in that series.
They do. Thompson hasn't been great. Williams has been out, but he hasn't been great. So, yeah, I could really see the Knicks sitting there at 4 and beating somebody. And I'd love to see the Knicks in the second round. Yeah, maybe a 5-game series, but Knicks fans. They love the proof point.
Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Knicks go from here. And I expect them to be in the playoffs, in the body of the playoffs, not playing the play-in tournament. So it'll be interesting to see what they do from here. But we got some NFL news, and the 49ers got the number 3 pick. The big question is, who are they going to take? But before that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
My brain's saying go Whitaker, my heart's saying go Gaslam, so I'm gonna go Gaslam.
I gotta tell you, your words confuse me.
I'm standing there with the bat, and then here comes this Bugs Bunny pitch. Ball. Where is this going?
I like it because he makes some sense right until like the last 4 or 5 seconds, and then everything goes different than what he just said, and a different name comes out of his mouth.
Throwing Jabs, available for download on your favorite podcast platform.
That is Throwing Jabs every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Join Jace, our producer, Joe Aguirre, and Jared Jones for Throwing Jabs. Great podcast. Check them out every Saturday at 11. But we got to get to the NFL. And Trey Lance had his pro day on Monday, and the 49ers had Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, their quarterback coach there, and they wanted John Beck to do a private workout with him. So, the 49ers with the number 3 pick. And, I've been thinking about this, what they're going to do with that pick. Is it going to be Mac Jones? Is it going to be Trey Lance? Is it going to be Justin Fields? I think the pick should be Justin Fields. If I'm the 49ers, I'm definitely taking Justin Fields with that pick. But the more and more things I read, I'm feeling like, I know there's a lot of rumors about them getting Mac Jones, but I feel like they're going to take Trey Lance with that number 3 overall pick. And the big reason why is they feel like they want Jimmy Garoppolo to be their starter this year, and they feel like Trey Lance isn't ready to start from day one in the NFL. So what they're going to do is do what Patrick Mahomes did with Alex Smith. They're going to have Trey Lance take a redshirt year. He's going to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think Lance is going to sit this year. Garoppolo is going to be the starter. We'll see how the Niners do, and then I think Trey Lance will be the starter in 2022. So I think, in my opinion, I think that the Niners are going to take Trey Lance right now. I have done a mock draft. I have a mock draft done, but it's not finalized. It'll be finalized next week and be discussed heavily on this show, obviously, because the draft is on Thursday. But right now, I got Trey Lance going to the Niners at 3. Justin, who do you got the Niners taking with the number 3 overall pick?
Right now, it's been tough. Yeah, I've been kind of going back and forth, trying to read a lot, trying to figure out, because it could be any one of those 3. I have him still going with Mac Jones. I do think, he's a guy, who could use and I think, because Lance is number 2 because of, your reason of, he could use a redshirt year. And it doesn't sound like, they're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo right now. So it kind of seems like, they'll keep him for another year. But I think Mac Jones too, because he fits Mike Shanahan's offense. He's the type of quarterback. Again, I know he's not mobile, but he's just the guy. He makes the right reads. We'll see wide receiver wise. Again, he had so many top wide receivers last year at Alabama. We'll see how he adjusts to it.
I got a big problem with Mac Jones going number 3 overall. You don't trade all this draft capital to take Mac Jones. Take a guy that has not proven he could play from behind. And in this NFL, I'm sorry. Every team you're on, you're going to have to play from behind. Even Patrick Mahomes in that playoff run, he had to play from behind, multiple times. All 3 games he was down by 10 points the year he won the Super Bowl. So you're going to have to play from behind. And Max Jones has not proven at all that he can play from behind. He relies too much on his offensive line and the weapons around him. And in today's NFL, I know the offensive line is important, but you cannot rely on the offensive line. You can't rely on protection. You got to be able to make throws in muddy pockets. Even the quarterbacks with the best offensive line have to do that. So I know I know Kyle Shanahan really wants Mac Jones because it's very similar to Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan coming out in 2008 is a lot different than Mac Jones coming out in 2021. Offensive line play was a lot different in 2008. It was a lot more impactful. It was more impactful in 2008 than it was in 2021. So I know Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. I feel like John Lynch wants either Lance or Fields. I feel like Fields is going to be the pick because I think they love his upside. But I have a problem with Mac Jones going number 3 overall.
Yeah, and that's why I was like going back because right now he's like the 21 overall rated prospect, and it's like he's 5th on the QB list. So it's like
we got to
that's why it is weird to have, but I don't what I've been I think and that's why I think because he fits Shanahan's mold. But I think it wouldn't surprise me to see Fields or Lance, but again, I could see him kind of sticking with their guns here and taking Mac Jones. But obviously it's tough. They can go either or all three of those quarterback picks. But yeah, because it's like, we haven't seen Mac Jones kind of come play from behind. He had a great offensive line last year, but he's been good under pressure, and he's really, really accurate. But look, it's going to be a different world for him when he is behind him. Yeah, we did not experience any of that last year with him. So that is a big question mark. And especially too, because it's, I guess it's kind of, kills kind of my point of Mac Jones, but it's like too, like last few years, Alabama, I know it's too early to tell with Tua, but some of the Alabama quarterbacks have not lasted very long, under Stephen.
Here's the thing with Tua. Tua is a little bit different because Tua's more mobile, and Tua proved he could play from behind. He did it right. He did it the first time he came in the national championship game. So Tua has proven it. So I think Tua's a little bit different because of his mobility. Mac Jones, I feel like, doesn't have the mobility to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I think he could be, a top 15 guy, but I think there's no way Mac Jones is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Trey Lance, if everything pans out, has a chance to be. Justin Fields has a chance to be. Trevor Lawrence has a chance to be. Mac Jones, to me, Zach Wilson has a chance to be. Mac Jones, to me, he's the one guy in this draft. He doesn't really have a chance to be, I don't even think a top 10 quarterback nor a top 5 quarterback. I think he'll probably be a top 15 quarterback at best in the NFL because of his lack of mobility. And we got a comment from Jace. I think if they bring in Lance, they will do what Philly tried. Have a main starter, and work the young guy in some different packages to you. No. They are not going to put Trey Lance on the field to run packages. That didn't work at all in Philly last year. That's why Philly was a disaster, because they had Trey Lance playing. Jalen Hurts coming to games. That was why it was disastrous. No. It only worked in New Orleans because Drew Brees accepted, okay, we're going to do this because Drew Brees was in a stage of his career that we're going to do anything. I'm going to do anything to help the team win. No, there is no way at all they're going to bring Trey Lance in for certain packages if they draft him. He'll just sit on the bench and learn and be the starter in 2022. He's not coming in to He's not coming in to run the Wildcat. Absolutely not. There's no way he's doing that. No. I think the reason they'll draft Trey Lance is they like his upside. He'll learn from Jimmy Garoppolo. He'll learn the offense, which usually doesn't happen in the NFL these days. So he'll get it. He'll get it. He'll be in a really good situation if Lance goes there. He'll learn the offense. He'll learn Kyle Shanahan's offense for 1 year. Then he pops in and plays in 2022. But to Jace's comment, there is no way they're going to put him in the game to use his legs. They're going to risk injury, and they're not going to pull their quarterback off the field. Usually you don't pull your starting quarterback off the field if you're going to be successful in this league.
Yeah, actually, with Shanahan too, I don't, Shanahan's kind of old school too, so I don't know. I think it'd be a cool idea, but he gets hurt, tears an ACL or something. That could end very poorly, and I guess too, Shannon's probably going to have a lot of questions to answer if that would happen. So it'd be very risky. It'd be interesting to try it. It would, but then going back with Mac Jones, we were saying about kind of him and Tua. I think the only way he could kind of be a top 5 quarterback, if he's able to do what Brady can, and obviously I haven't seen him, if he can be like Brady can and do with the pre-snap.
Brady is unreal pre-snap though. Unreal pre-snap. Not even close. I mean, I know Mac Jones is smart. He's not even at this point, not even close to Brady's level pre-snap. And it's going to be hard for him to end up being that way because I think he's going to lose some confidence because he's going to struggle early. I mean, with the offensive line play being the way it is in the NFL, he's going to struggle early. I think, in the right situation, he could be a top 15 quarterback, but if he doesn't get in the right situation, he's going to struggle.
Yeah, I can see that. And I wasn't trying to compare him to Brady right now.
Oh, no, I know.
Okay. Because I don't know if we'll ever see anybody have the mind like Tom Brady does. But I'm saying if there was, if he somehow could, I could see him succeeding and being a top-of-the-line quarterback. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's the only way he could probably become a top 5 quarterback in this league is if, I think that's the only way any.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without question. His mind
quarterback's going to survive this league now.
Exactly. Yeah. And you made a good point. Yeah. You cut out a little bit there, but I know what you said. Unmobile. The only way unmobile quarterbacks are going to succeed is if they're so good pre-snap. That they have to be really, really good pre-snap, because you just can't rely on, even in Eli Manning's prime when he had a pretty good offensive line. You can't rely on the offensive line being great. You got to be so good pre-snap where you're able to, read defenses, able to set protections, make sure guys pick up blitzes. You got to be that way to be successful if you're not a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of that chain. Definitely, because with these new kind of with the line, offensive line, it's so important to me. I still think it's an important aspect of the game. But you see all these top of the guys. I know Trevor Lawrence not the most mobile, but he can run. Wilson can
absolutely
kind of do it. So these all top of the line quarterbacks now, they can run and they could all hurt you with their legs. And then too, because it's like you have to put a spy on them, and it takes a defender away, and you're playing 11 on 10 now. So
exactly, yep.
Coaches kind of love that.
Exactly. And Jace made a good point here. Whoever the Niners pick with Jimmy G's injury history will probably get some starts. It's a really good point Jace made. Yeah. I mean, the only year Jimmy G was healthy was the year the Niners went to the Super Bowl. So, don't be surprised if you see whoever, if it's Mac Jones, if it's Justin Fields, if it is Trey Lance, whoever they pick, to see them get game time, because Garoppolo, the big reason why the Niners are moving on from Garoppolo, they're not moving on from Garoppolo because he's not a good quarterback. They're moving on from Garoppolo because he gets hurt too much.
Yeah, and we saw it last year. It's tough to win in this league. We don't have a quarterback, especially in the NFC West. You can't, again, with the Cardinals now, with the Rams, Seahawks, you can't really, with a backup quarterback, you're not winning that division. You got no chance. You got no chance to even try to win a wild card. You get a wild card spot. So, you have to have a healthy quarterback to somewhat stay in that division. And, they need, you need your quarterback available. And unfortunately, Jimmy G just has not been able to do that.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's been the case for Garoppolo so far. But we got to talk about a quarterback that called it quits this week, and that's Alex Smith. And he had I wouldn't say a great career, but he had a really good career. I mean, obviously, at the beginning of his career with all the offensive coordinators, he had all the coaching issues in San Francisco. It hurt him at the beginning. But once Jim Harbaugh came, he had a really good year in 2011. Yes, Jay says it, Utah product. Yes, I remember Urban Meyer and Utah in 2004. He was on that Utah team in 2004. Yes, I remember that. They went to a bowl game too. I remember. I think they went to. They won the Fiesta Bowl. I think that year.
Oh, Fiesta.
They beat Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl that year.
I know they beat Pitt. Okay.
Beat Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. He was on that team with Urban Meyer. I think that team went undefeated. I'm pretty sure that team went undefeated. That team went undefeated with Alex Smith, number 1 overall pick by the 49ers. I mean, hate to say the 49ers probably wish they took Aaron Rodgers for that number 1 overall pick, but still, number 1 overall pick. Remember that 2011 season too when Jim Harbaugh came. He had a really good year that year, led the Niners to the NFC Championship game. I mean, if it wasn't for Kyle Williams, he very easily could have been in the Super Bowl. Next year, Niners were 6-2. And then he got hurt, and Colin Kaepernick played well, and unfortunately lost his job to Colin Kaepernick. Went to Kansas City, did a really good job in Kansas City. I mean, 4 straight winning seasons, 3 playoff appearances, had 1 playoff win. But after that playoff game against the Steelers where they lost and the Steelers didn't even score a touchdown, they kicked 6 field goals to knock them out of the playoffs. Kansas City thought, what, this guy is probably – I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's not good enough. They went out and got Patrick Mahomes, so he unfortunately lost his job there. And then, really where you really admired him was once he went to Washington, went 6-3, and then obviously the big injury when he shattered his leg. I mean, just a scary, scary injury. But what he did this year to come back from that injury was why even him taking a snap, he was comeback player of the year this year. The guy was tough. The guy was resilient. The guy was a really good quarterback in this league. Not a Hall of Famer, but a really good quarterback in this league and had a really good career in this league.
Yeah, he did. He had a really good career. Yeah, obviously it was a tough start in San Francisco. With all the coaching changes. Found something in Kansas City and, but for a little bit. Yeah, what he did with the Washington football team last year to come back from what he did, from that leg injury, it's just impressive. And I've said it, multiple times. We talked about it. I can't imagine. I would not be able to step back on the field ever. But and to get this, and I know they were 7-9, but still to get this team to a wild card to actually win the division, to help the team win the division. I know he got hurt. He didn't play towards the in the playoff game, but. It was still really, really impressive. Definitely comeback player of the year. didn't matter if he didn't take a snap. He deserved it. Guy had a really good career. Again, really seemed like a really, really good guy. We thought this was going to happen probably a few years ago. To be able to step on the field, and he did all he could. He played pretty well in the games he played. Obviously not like an MVP or anything, but for what he went through to play the way he did, kudos to him. And he had a really, really solid career in the NFL.
He absolutely did. Got one more story in the NFL, and that's Mike Tomlin getting a contract extension, 3-year contract extension. He'll be the Steelers coach. He's signed out until the 2024 season. And let's be honest, he's a great coach, and he deserves it. I mean, you saw what he did last year without. I heard a stat. He's 18-15 without Ben Roethlisberger. He went 8-8 without Big Ben last year, so he did a great job last year. This year, he did a good job going 12-4. So really, without great quarterback play, this guy's winning games. This guy's one of the top coaches in the league. He's going to have to find his next quarterback because Big Ben – I would have moved on from Big Ben this year, but I think Big Ben's done. But he's a great coach in this league, and this is the Steelers. And it's amazing with the Steelers. Since 1967, they've had 3 coaches.
It's insane. That's this organization and consistency and just trusting your guy, and just being able to find, a head coach. It's to have 3 coaches like that, since 1967, it's insane. But he's a guy too. He's had 3 and 8 years, but he's never had a losing record. Again, it's been consistency, and he's got the Ravens at division. The Bengals are good for a few years under Marvin Lewis. He's done a good job with the Steelers team, and last year was remarkable. To somehow go with that team with 8 and 8. That defense is incredible. His defenses are always so good. That's always why big reason why they don't need really a great quarterback. His defense is just reload year after year. They had a year or two where they really struggled, but it's like then they found it again. Good decision by the Steelers. Another really good year. I know it didn't end the way Steelers fans thought it was an end, but he deserved the contract extension.
Absolutely. So Gonzaga landed the top recruit in the country, but before that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Rocky Hill Accountants offers a unique, low-pressure approach to professional and personal services, which is why they have an excellent client retention rate and are extremely proud of the high-quality services that their firm provides. The executive team at Rocky Hill Accountants has over 35 years of combined experience in income tax preparation, bookkeeping, accounting, and IT crypto tax. They specialize in individual income tax preparation, as well as trusts, estates, and gift tax returns. The tax deadline for individuals is May 17th. If you're one of the 50 million Americans who still hasn't filed, visit RockyHillAccountants.com.
So Gonzaga yesterday signed the top recruit in the country, Chet Holmgren, big 7'1" center. I think, they're going to be probably losing Drew Timme. They're probably going to lose Corey Kispert. And we know they're losing Jalen Suggs. He declared for the draft. So, Justin, the big question is with this kid, with this freshman, can Gonzaga get back to the Final Four next year with this guy? I know they'll win a lot of games.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance. The rumblings I've heard is Timme may actually come back.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, I think Kispert's gone, but it sounds like Timme. They're talking like it's going to be Timme and Holmgren in the front court. So, what I've heard so far, but I think he can. What I've read about this guy, I've seen like 10 minutes. He had one of his games on ESPN. I watched a little bit of it. His comparisons is Anthony Davis. He's I think he's a better ball handler than Davis is. He's a 7'1". He can play point guard. And
wow, that's gonna be unstoppable next year. 7'1" and can play point guard. Imagine him penetrating and getting to the basket, and then even him and then taking it to the hoop. Oh man, that's gonna be unstoppable.
Yeah, it is. And they say Jokic 2.0.
Jokic, very good comparison, Jace. There, Jokic 2.0. Yes.
But they say he's not the recruiting analysts say he's not the best prospect we've ever seen, but he's the most unique of being 7'1". He could play the point guard. He's a really good perimeter defender. He could play perimeter on the offensive side of the ball too. He's got to get stronger, which I think he'll be able to do. At Gonzaga, get into a
I mean, he'll play 1 year. He's going to be probably the number one pick in the NBA draft after in 2022.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm just for 8 months to be at Gonzaga, just to try to get bigger. Again, he's 17, 18 too, so it's obviously his body's still developing himself. But they say he's the best shot blocker in the country. He's the best shot blocker they've ever seen at the high school level. His offensive side too of the ball is still a little bit raw. He's better. His defense is more complete right now than his offensive side of the ball, and that's kind of the scary thing. He can kind of do it all defensively. He's kind of a nightmare because he can. It'll be interesting next year in the NBA. Everything I hear, he gets a bit quicker. He could be a really tough guy to go up against, because if he can guard the way 7'1", you're not gonna be able to get many shots over him. So he's got he's going to be fun to watch next year, Gonzaga. It was kind of for a while, it was the writing on the wall is going to Gonzaga here, but again, they say he's got upside too. Still, he's not done. He's still got some potential. So this kid's going to be really good. I think they can make a run. Obviously, I know they play in the West Coast Conference. They'll make a run. I could very well see them making a run. If Timmy comes back, Suggs is gone. They have another solid class coming in. I can't remember. I know it's updated. I think they're in the top 10 now, but I think Gonzaga's going to reload and they'll be back. I'd be shocked if they're not a 1 seed.
Yeah, of course they'll be a 1 seed because the conference they play in is absolutely terrible. So, of course, they'll be a 1 seed. But the question is going to be what will they do in the NCAA tournament? And can they win a national championship? That's the question. Yeah,
Chet Holmgren may be the best player in the country. Again, it's way too early to tell. Again, I don't, but he's going to be one of the top players, obviously. He's probably going to be the number one pick, as you mentioned. I'd be shocked if he's not. But again, who knows, year from now what happens. But I again, always depends on the bracket, how it shakes out, matchups. Yep. So, again, I think, with everything I've heard, again, I don't know what Gonzaga's non-conference schedule is like. Again, if they could get some, I assume they have some top-of-the-line teams that they're going to face in November, December, which will help them. I think they can make a run in the Final Four. I know people are talking, Gonzaga, UCLA next year in the national championship game. I think UCLA is a little bit overrated at the moment because of what they did. But, I with adding him, I think, you're going to have the best player in the country, I believe. I think Chet Holmgren will be. I'd be shocked if they don't make a Final Four. But again, it's way too early to tell matchups, other teams. So, but I'd be shocked. I think this team's a Final Four team next year.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens with Gonzaga. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them. But we got to wrap up the show talking about a Connecticut legend, Jen Rosati, point guard of the UConn Huskies from 1992 to 1996, a part of that 1995 championship team. But most notably, she was the head coach at the University of Hartford from 2002 to 2006, won the America East title in 2002, 2004, 2005, 2008, and 2011. So five-time America East Conference Championship head coach. Went to George Washington. Unfortunately, she was fired this year, but she just gets hired. She just has been hired as the Connecticut Sun, the president of the Connecticut Sun. So I think it's a great move for the Connecticut Sun, bringing in Jen Rosati. She's got a great eye for talent. She did a great job recruiting at the University of Hartford, led them to five conference championships, America East Conference championships, 6 NCAA tournaments. So she's got a great eye for talent. I think this is a great move for the Connecticut Sun to have someone local being in their front office.
Yeah, this is a great move. She's talented. Part of that first 95, that first national championship
with Rebecca Lobo.
The Lobo. I think this is a good move for the Sun because not last year. I know the year before they were the WNBA finals. I think they probably have some talent again this year. So I think it's a really good move. Local talent kind of excites kind of the for the Connecticut Sun to have your president kind of be a star in Connecticut. Good to see her. Didn't work at George Washington. Gets another shot now with the Connecticut Sun. So good for her. And, I think she'll do great things with the CT Sun.
She absolutely will. So that's going to wrap it up on Sports Talk with RNJ. For Jace Garcia, our producer, did a great job. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week with our 2021 NFL mock draft. So make sure you tune in for that. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hi, my name is Zach LaPlante. Have you ever imagined about starting your own podcast or radio show to voice your opinions and share your passions with others? You think to yourself, how would I even start something like that? I don't have any equipment or any experience whatsoever. Well, look no further. The folks at Clovercrest Media got you covered. Clovercrest Media Group is home to over 30 individual podcasts, like Divide We Stand, I'll Piss You Off Shortly, Speaking It Real, and so much more. At Clovercrest, our sound engineers only believe in the best sounding audio quality, and their expertise will make your podcast sound professional and pleasing to your viewers. As a media group, we are obliged to every type of media available, including, but not limited to, video, audio, photography, and digital media marketing, as well as live streaming, and so much more. As we say here at CMG, the harder we work, the luckier we'll get. To jumpstart your podcast or program, go to clovercrestmedia.com and get to recording today.